Okay, we got got a couple lines open for you, and we'll get your calls here in just a minute. I just want to introduce our next subject. Real quickly, we're going to be talking about amino acids, the building blocks of protein. Amino acids are the key components of protein. When you think about protein, the first thing you want to think about is building. If you're dealing with a degenerative disease, if you're post-surgery, if you're pre-surgery, if you're elderly, if you're exercising, working out, lifting weights, or if you just want to feel better, it is absolutely critical that you begin to pay attention to protein intake and protein absorption. They're both important. Protein intake and protein absorption. A rough estimate of the amount of protein that you want to use is somewhere around the order of half a gram to a gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you're looking at around 100 grams to 200 grams of protein a day. That is significantly higher than most people get. Most people are getting somewhere like 20 to 30 grams of protein a day. I've talked to so many people who think that one scoop or even a tablespoon or a teaspoon or 2 teaspoonfuls of protein powder is enough protein for the day. It is not. You get about 5 grams of protein in a teaspoon, 15 grams in a tablespoon, 30 grams in a scoop. And most folks are going to need 2 or 3 or even 4 scoops of good protein powder a day. Now, if you're cooking your protein, you're getting your protein from egg or from meat or from fish, you just don't really know exactly how much protein value or how much protein you're actually getting because of the cooking. So I recommend people use protein powders. That way you at least know exactly what you're getting. Of course, whey protein powder is the absolute best. We'll be talking about that here in a little bit. If you're on a workout program, you're starting an exercise program, you're trying to build muscle, it is really, really important that you get in some protein in a supplemental fashion, or at least dietary protein, because as you tear up your muscles from lifting weights, in order to get those muscles to repair, you need to have amino acids and you need to have protein. So if you're working out, make sure you're getting on a protein supplement, especially when you come home from the gym. Same with if you have a degenerative disease or an autoimmune disease, God forbid if you have cancer, any long-term degenerative crisis, it's really important to think about protein intake and also about protein absorption. And this is where the ultimate enzymes from longevity and apple cider vinegar become important. The ultimate enzymes contain proteases. Those are enzymes that break up protein, and apple cider vinegar helps activate it. So if you're going to be supplementing with your protein after your workout or pre or post surgery, get yourself on the ultimate enzymes, use some apple cider vinegar, and try to use whey protein if you can, or egg protein. Those are the 2 best, highest quality proteins. Think protein, think work, think strength, think power, and think life. All proteins are made up of little amino acids in a kind of string or necklace-like fashion. And by understanding how the different amino acids work and what they are, it can help us get a better handle on this whole topic of protein. In addition, in many cases, as we're going to find out here in a little bit, using single amino acids by themselves can have nutritional value. We talked about cysteine, how important that is for chelating toxins like mercury and heavy metals. We talked about methionine and how important that is as an activator for other chemicals. We talked about glutamine. We've talked about amino acid combinations that are called peptides, made up of maybe 3 or 4 or 5 amino acids. These little peptide structures, they're not technically a full-blown protein. You need probably 20 amino acids or something for a chemical to be classified as a protein, but nonetheless, these short amino acid chains, peptides they call them, glutathione is an example of a peptide. We're going to be talking about a peptide that's important for weightlifters here in a little bit. These various peptides, skincare peptides, collagen is a peptide, they all have specific health relevance. The next amino acid I want to talk about is one of my favorites. It's important for sexual health, for blood sugar control. It's one of, if not the most important amino acid, for bodybuilders, for weightlifters and athletes. If you're dealing with blood pressure problems, cardiovascular problems, you should probably be using some of this amino acid as a supplement, or at least eating foods that contain this amino acid. And I am talking about what I call super amino acid, which is arginine. The key component of all amino acids is the element nitrogen. And while all amino acids contain at least one little piece of nitrogen, some contain 2 little pieces of nitrogen, a couple contain 3 little pieces of nitrogen, what makes arginine so important, it's why I call it super amino acid, what makes arginine so powerful is the fact that it contains 4 elements of nitrogen. All amino acids are going to have at least 1, and some will have 2 or 3, but arginine has 4 chunks of nitrogen. Nitrogen is an explosive element. Think nitroglycerin. Think dynamite, which is made with a type of nitrogen substance called TNT. It's actually got 3 chunks of nitrogen. Trinitro. TNT stands for trinitrotoluene. It's got 3 pieces of nitrogen. And growth is actually a controlled explosion, and the explosivity, that's a word, the explosive nature of nitrogen makes it a really important growth element. Nothing moves or grows without nitrogen. Plants can't grow without nitrogen. Nothing's going to stunt a plant's growth faster than a soil that's deficient in nitrogen. Plants can't make stems and cells and phytonutrients and leaves and roots without nitrogen, and we can't make cells and muscle and tissue without nitrogen either. Arginine, by virtue of the fact that it's got 4 chunks of nitrogen, is a super duper important growing and growth-inducing amino acid. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Our number 855-660-4261. We'll take your calls when we come back from our break. Don't go away. All right, welcome back to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thank you for joining us. We are going to be talking to Patty Black at the bottom of the hour. Patty healed herself of multiple sclerosis. I talked to her a couple weeks ago. She told me her story. She's the sister of a friend of mine. And I said, Patty, you got to get on the program. It's an inspiring story. She did it without drugs. She did it without doctors. The same message I've been telling you for the last 3-4 years on this program, the last 30 years in my talks and presentations. You don't need doctors or the medical model to deal with degenerative disease. In fact, doctors not only can't help you, more often than not, they're going to make matters worse because of the prescription pharmacomedical nostrums or protocols for dealing with degeneration and degenerative disease more often than not add to the burden on an already stressed out body. And Patty's going to tell you how she healed herself of MS using just nutrition and yoga and a few other strategies. We'll be talking to her at the bottom of the hour. So if you've got calls, now's the time to get on board. 855-660-4261 is our number. Let's go to John in Michigan. What's up, John? Welcome to The Bright Side.
Or Ben, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
I was stung by, I don't know what, it hit my neck from the back, and I went into the reaction. I've been stung before by bees and even hornets before.
And what kind of reaction?
I turned red as a bee, itched like crazy. My feet swelled, my lips swelled, my eyes were swollen.
This is one time, if you listen to this program, I'm not a big believer in medication or drugs, but really, I'm not a big believer in medication or drugs for long-term degenerative diseases. When you have some kind of acute reaction, like you're dealing with, you probably want to get on some kind of antihistamine just for relief, and that would be Benadryl, although that might make you tired. It is very effective to help relieve some of the symptoms. And then you might want to consider something to get the toxins out of your blood, something like bentonite clay or zeolite or something along those lines, silica gel perhaps. Algae can help detoxify the body. But typically the toxins are not going to be you're not going to have too much toxicity. Most of it is local. So what I'd be doing, first of all, is Benadryl, orally, 50 milligrams a day. You can go up to 100 milligrams a day, 25 to 50 milligrams a day. If you go up to 100 milligrams a day, you'll get relief, but you'll probably knock yourself out, so that's not a good idea. 25 to 50 milligrams a day, that's 1 to 2 capsules a day. And then topically for the itching, you can use something called Benacort cream, which is Benadryl cream in combination with hydrocortisone. And if it surprises you that I'm recommending prescription drugs, it shouldn't be a surprise. Prescription drugs do have their place when it comes to acute relief. Pain pills, antihistamines sometimes, as Benadryl is. Also antibiotics, of course, have their place. When I beat up on drugs here on this program, what I'm really beating up on is the use of medication for lifestyle issues, for long-term degenerative diseases, not so much for these acute problems. So I'd be recommending Benacort topically, Benadryl internally. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I did have to go to the hospital. They put me on the IV, and they gave me the prednisone. And
that's a fancy Benadryl. That's a fancy version of Benadryl. It's a cortisone. I don't know that necessarily that you needed that. I'm not your doctor, and I'm not there, so I can't say yay or nay.
Well,
Go ahead.
I have EpiPen now that I'm supposed to be carrying with me.
Do you have a history of allergies, John?
None at all.
Okay, well, that's a little overkill if you ask me. EpiPen is if your heart stops or something along those lines. You have some serious allergic reaction. Carry it around with you, because sometimes you can, if you've never been allergic, but you get stung by a bee, you can sensitize your body, and you may have a severe allergic reaction the next time you get stung. So you may want to carry that around, but it sounds like a little bit of overkill if you don't have a history. Keep your body strong. Make sure you don't have any other health issues, so that your body can deal with emergencies, and that counts as an emergency of bee sting. But it sounds a little bit overkill. Prednisone is really, really nasty stuff. So unless you had some kind of severe allergic reaction, I probably wouldn't have recommended that. But what's done is done. In the meantime, keep your body strong. If you still have problems itching or swelling, you might want to consider the Benadryl or the Benacort. But it doesn't sound like it shouldn't be that big a deal.
Well, they thought it was that I was pretty red. I was red all over completely. And then when they gave me the IV, the hives, you could see the hives just disappearing.
Yeah, that's the miracle of prednisone. That's why doctors love it. It just pulls everything out. The problem is you have an immune system for a reason. So those defensive reactions, while they may be unpleasant, are not necessarily a reason to suppress your immune system, I don't think. Of course, I'm not there, and I didn't see the reaction, so I can't say yay or nay, but it does sound like a little bit of overkill. How you doing now?
Great. That was
Hello?
I even went to work that evening, a little bit of light work, but they put me on prednisone for 5 days.
You're done with the prednisone now, though, right?
No, a couple more days and I'll be done. But I'm taking calcium. I take all the supplements to keep my body.
Stay on it and watch out for any kind of problems with your digestive system. You want to keep your body strong so it can handle the prednisone. Prednisone's a nasty, nasty drug, but you have a liver that's meant to detoxify these substances, and it does a heck of a job. So just make sure your liver's not overburdened with other things. Make sure you're eating correctly. Make sure that you're using your nutritional supplements, and you should be able to clear that prednisone out.
Yeah, I drink kefir every day.
Good deal, John.
And apple cider vinegar.
Consider the bentonite clay and the zeolite to help clear the prednisone out of your body, too. That's something else that you might want to think about.
Sounds great, Ben.
Take care, bro. Have a beautiful day, John. Good to talk. Okay, Karen in North Carolina, what's going on? Welcome to the bright side.
Hi, Ben.
Hey.
I was just wondering if you could give me some insight. What's the difference between to be concerned about with blood in the baby's stool or too much fiber?
I'm not sure what you're saying. Those are two issues. Too much fiber? Are you thinking your baby's getting too much fiber? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, she recently had a stool that I've never seen before, and it looked like...
Is she having a problem going to the bathroom? Is she constipated at all?
No, she's not constipated.
Okay, now...
But,
blood in the stool could be a lot of things. It could be a cut in the area, like a fissure of some kind, or an opening of some kind, an anal fissure. It could have something to do with a food allergy or food problem. Does she have any intestinal problems? Is she colicky or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've called about her before. It's Harmony. For Harmony.
Oh, hi, Harm. Oh, hey, Tera, right? Is your name Tera?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Tera. Yeah, so here's the deal. I remember talking to you. She does have a history that way. Chances are she's dealing with something in the digestive system. And as I recall, she's breastfeeding, isn't she? Mm-hmm. 100%?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, well, then you got to narrow it down to you. It's something in the breast milk. You got to narrow it down to your problems, to your digestive issues and food allergies. I take it you have a history that way, correct?
Yeah, I'm slowly figuring them out. Yeah.
Say that again, Tara.
I said I'm figuring them out. I can tell when I eat certain foods. Now that I'm being more conscious about it, I can tell a difference. Okay,
well, that's good. That's exactly what you want to be, is more conscious about it. But I would say there's a lot of reasons why blood in the stool, blood can appear in a baby's stool. Not all of them are serious. But given that baby Harmony does have a history that way, and you have a history that way, I would say it's a pretty darn good bet that she's dealing with some kind of digestive issue that's coming in from your breast milk. I hope you're on probiotics, correct? You're using probiotic supplement, correct?
No.
No, come on. Get yourself on a probiotic. You have to. And then also fermented foods. Tara, I got to move. Why don't you call me tomorrow? We got a guest coming up in the bottom of the hour. Call us tomorrow or send me an email and I'll get back to you personally, okay? That's very, very serious. If the kid has a history of digestive issues, and if mom has a history of digestive issues, and now there's blood in the stool, that's something I would be paying attention to. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We're going to come back and talk to Patricia Black about healing yourself from multiple sclerosis. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Okay, so we are going to spend the next half hour talking to a friend of mine, actually a sister of a good friend, Patricia Black. She's healed herself of multiple sclerosis. I spoke to her brother about a month ago, and he told me her story, and then, her husband, about a month ago, and he told me her story, and then I gave Patricia a call, and we chatted, and I said, you got to get on the bright side. The bright side really is about inspiration. I want you guys to understand that whatever your health challenge is, especially if it's a long-term chronic degenerative disease, you don't have to deal with it, and you don't have to go to doctors, and they can't help you anyway. You don't have to be condemned to prescription medicine. You don't have to deal with surgical procedures and going in and out of the doctor's office and waiting in line at the pharmacy and dealing with insurance companies. You can take care of degenerative crisis yourself, and Patricia Black is going to tell us how she did it. Thank you for joining us, Patricia. Good to talk to you this morning.
Ben, how are you?
I'm doing good. So, you are Bruce's sister, a good friend of mine.
Yes.
I've known Bruce for 21 years. And I didn't know about your story until about a month and a half ago. And as soon as I heard it, I got all excited. I said, you got to share this with my listeners. So tell us real quickly a little bit about yourself, and then tell us about how you started, how the disease started, how you were diagnosed, and some of the early things that happened to you. And then we'll get into how you took care of it.
Well, I'm 63 years old.
Years young.
I've had MS since I was approximately 28 years old.
Okay, so that's 35 years.
It's, a long, long time. And basically what I do is manage the disease. Since there is no known cure for it, I manage it. And I do certain things to manage my disease. I do lots of exercise.
Well, no, Patricia, we'll get to that in a second. I want to hear how it started and how it developed and what made you notice it, and then how you were diagnosed, the beginnings of it.
Well, I was about 28 years old, and I was having a surprise party for my husband. I was really stressed out about it. And in the middle of the party, I went to speak and say something, and the words were in my mind, and I couldn't speak.
And never had anything like that happen before?
No, it was really frightening.
Wow. And you were healthy?
I really wanted to, talk with my friends.
Patricia, were you a healthy girl and all that? And
absolutely, yes.
Okay. So that came out of the middle of nowhere.
Right out of nowhere. It was really, really frightening. And I thought, boy, what an odd thing that was. It really scared me. But, I calmed down, and I got through the party, and everything was fine. It was just a fleeting thing. And then I would say about a year later, I had a hard time walking. And it was during a time that I was stressed out. Stress is a major factor in all of this. And I couldn't walk. My foot was dragging behind me.
Wow.
It was really, really frightening.
And you're only 29 years old at this time? At this point?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
So
I was always very athletic, and this just came out of the blue. I had no control over my body anymore.
Wow.
Really scary.
You go to the doctor, you go to a neurologist, or what?
Right. I went to a few doctors, and some doctors just said, that's odd. That was their reaction.
Did they put you on medication? Did you get...
No,
put you on drugs?
No medication. They just really didn't know what to do. They had no idea. So one doctor said, you must be really nervous. And I was like, well, I may be nervous, but that's not normal.
Wow.
To lose control of walking.
Now, so is it degenerating?
I didn't know what to do.
Is it degenerating?
I was really afraid.
Worse? Is it getting worse and degenerating, or is it just...
Yeah. So then eventually I couldn't write. I couldn't do handwriting of any type. I worked in an office. I had to write and type all day, and I had no control over my fingers or my hands.
Oh, my gosh.
Totally numb, or up and down my arms and down my legs.
So what's going through your head? What's going through your head? You must have been totally terrified.
I was terrified.
Wow.
So eventually, I lost sight in my left eye.
Oh my gosh! How old are you now? How old at this point?
63. Well, when this happened, I was about 30.
So
this has been going on for a few years at this point.
Wow! And you're starting to you're going blind now.
Yes, in one eye, totally blind.
Oh my goodness!
So I rushed to the eye doctor. He sent me to a specialist, a neurologist, and the neurologist told me, I'm not sure, but I think you have MS.
Wow.
So he sent me to have an MRI done, and 3 doctors later agreed that I had MS.
Now, how did they diagnose the MS?
Well, it's just from the MRI.
Okay,
they can see the scarring on your brain tissue.
Okay.
Okay? Because I guess you have, like, myelin covering.
Right. And they see the myelin is damaged. They could see the myelin is damaged.
Yes, they could see it.
Now, are you having any digestive health issues at this point? Any food problems?
No,
Nothing.
Nothing with food, nothing.
Okay.
I did have trouble going to the bathroom, and most people with MS do have that, by the way.
Okay, constipation. All right.
Yeah.
So did you have a history of it growing up, or did it just start with the MS?
Nothing.
It kind of came along with the MS symptoms.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're 30.
Also, I worked in an office, a large office. I worked for a large corporation. So you do a lot of talking and speaking, and every once in a while I couldn't talk. And I had bosses that I was going to respond to their questions, and nothing would come out of my mouth, and they would look at me kind of funny, like, what's wrong with you?
Wait a minute, you'd open your mouth and no sound would come out?
Nothing.
Oh, my. So you must have felt like you were trapped in your body, like you were a prisoner inside your body. Holy cow.
So when I got the diagnosis of MS, I was kind of relieved, because at least I knew what it was.
Uh-huh.
It was an odd kind of feeling.
So did they try to treat it? Pharmacologically?
Yeah.
What did they do? What did they do?
They mainly told me stay away. Don't be stressed out.
Okay, nice.
Stay out of extreme heat, anything over 90 degrees.
Okay.
Stay out of the heat. Stay in air conditioning. And when it's very, very cold, stay out of the cold.
That was their protocol for taking care of the MS.
That was it.
No drugs?
No.
They didn't give any drugs?
Not yet.
Okay.
So then I thought, well, I guess I'm on my own in this, because they really didn't tell me too much. So I thought, well, I'm going to do yoga. I always had been exercising, but I thought, you know what, I'm really going to get serious about exercising now, because, well, I think when you have something like this happens, your natural inclination is to pull back and not do anything.
Interesting.
And
hang tight. Trish, we got to take a break. Hang tight. Hold that thought, okay? I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We are talking to Patricia Black. She healed herself of multiple sclerosis. She was a 10 at one time, and now she's down to a 1 in terms of her symptoms. We'll talk to Patricia about how she actually addressed her problem without medicines, without doctors, without drugs. I'm Pharmacist Ben. All right, we're back on The Bright Side talking to Patricia Black. She healed herself of multiple sclerosis. Patricia, continue on. You were talking about, so you're blind now, or blind in one eye. You decided to take yoga and proceed. You're 32 years old, right?
That disappeared after 3 months.
Okay.
It's a very strange disease, I know. So then I started thinking, well, I don't want my muscles to atrophy, because this is a disease that involves balance and strength. It challenges your balance and strength. So I thought, you know what? Yoga would be perfect for dealing with strength issues for your muscles and dealing with balance issues.
Okay.
And that's why I started to do yoga. It was the only thing that worked. And in the beginning, when I started to really stretch my muscles, it was so painful, Ben. Oh, my God.
Wow.
It was awful. But then eventually, the pain started to go away, and I started to get really strong.
Wow.
It was amazing. It's like my body bounced back.
Wow. So you went
I never saw anything like that.
You went from falling apart.
Now,
you went from falling apart to now your body's actually feeling strong?
Yeah, right.
Wow.
From doing yoga, it's hatha yoga, so it's deep breathing yoga. I do it every single day.
Still?
For at least 45 minutes.
Still?
Every day.
7 days a week.
Day out.
Wow.
Right. And so I do that every day. I do speed walking. Not heavy-duty speed walking, but just enough to keep my coordination, just keep me fit. And my main goal is to keep coordinated and to stay balanced all the time, because with MS, you really can't walk. You become crippled.
Did you have to quit your job?
No.
You still maintained working all through your 30s and 40s?
It was
still working.
really tough, but yeah, I did it.
And how long would you say it took for you to go from the real depths of your MS?
When I was really, really sick.
Yeah, to starting to make...
my healthy state now.
Yeah, how long?
I would say about 5 years.
So you went from really terrible MS to being really healthy
bad,
within
blind,
5 years.
Couldn't walk. Yeah.
Healthier than before you had the MS?
Yes.
Wow, healthier than your friends?
Absolutely.
Do you think you were healthier and stronger than your friends?
Well, yes, I do. But let me tell you, I worked for a large corporation, and we had a lot of people who had MS in my building.
Okay.
There were thousands of people in my building. And word got around of people who had MS, and we would get together and talk about it. And we found that the people who exercised were better than the people who were taking heavy-duty drugs.
No kidding. So exercise was a better Exercise
Absolutely.
was better.
Yes.
How interesting.
Yes.
Now,
in fact, I had one friend who had MS, and she was an exercise teacher at night after work.
With MS?
Yes.
She was an exercise teacher with multiple sclerosis?
Yes.
That's
absolutely.
Amazing. Now, how about, tell us about the food component. Or there must have been some kind of food.
What?
Tell us about the food component, how you change your diet.
So I do the exercise, the yoga every single day, and mainly I stick to a strict diet of lots of protein.
Which is what kind of protein?
Chicken, fish, I eat cheese, scrambled eggs, cottage cheese, just anything that's high protein.
Okay.
I'll eat lots of peanut butter, lots of nuts.
Okay. How about fat?
Lots of salads.
Do you do any essential fatty acids or anything like that?
No.
Oh, wait, we got to get you on some ultimate EFAs. You're going to be blown away. How about probiotics? Any good bacteria or fermented food or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
I do take vitamins. I take vitamin C, vitamin D, A, biotin.
Okay.
And that's about it. But I stick to a strict diet, definitely.
Do you notice that you're eating less food, or do you pay attention to eating less calories? Do you go days without food?
No, I don't worry about calories at all.
Oh, and
I just worry about getting enough protein.
Okay, and then do you snack in the middle of the day, or do you have...
I eat all day.
And junk foods at all?
No junk food. No sugar. I avoid sugar like the plague.
Yeah, like what do you mean by sugar? Like sweets and desserts and stuff?
Any candies.
Okay.
And also breads, any carbs, I just stay away from.
All right, well...
Basically, what I have is a modified Atkins diet.
Okay, got it. Now, how would you talk to some folks who are just being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis? What would you tell them?
Well, my heart goes out to them, believe me. I know how it feels. Don't give up hope. Just stick with it. Look for some kind of solution to your problem, because it can be managed. It's not the end of the world.
Why do you say managed? How do you know you haven't reversed it totally? Do you still have symptoms? Or do you fall? Do you
well, let me tell you, like now we're in summer, and the summer is a real challenge for me. With the heat, it's awful. So what I do is, I know that when it's summertime, I stay in the air conditioning. If I have to go out, I go out in the morning or at night, but not in the heat of the day. So that's what I mean by managing.
So you'd still, if your body gets stressed...
with it.
So if your body's stressed in some fashion, like through humidity or through heat, you'll notice that you start to degenerate.
If it's humid, hot and humid, then I feel it.
Okay, now at 63, if you were like most people, you'd start to have arthritis symptoms, or your blood sugar would be changing, or your weight.
You don't have any arthritis, no.
And no diabetes, no weight gain, nothing like that.
No, nothing.
Patricia, do you understand how awesome that is? I mean, even if you didn't have MS.
I know, it's really incredible.
And you attribute just to yoga?
Well, to eating healthy.
Yeah.
And just yoga, staying active.
Hello?
I'm here.
Okay, I think I lost you. Say that again now?
Just staying active and eating healthy. No junk food.
Nice. That is really awesome. How about your sleep?
I go to sleep at 10 o'clock every night and sleep until about 6.
No problems with sleep?
None.
How was menopause? No. How was your menopause?
I take Prempro for that.
Did you notice that your symptoms got worse during menopause?
Not really, no.
Did you have hot flashes and insomnia and
a little
anxiety?
bit, but nothing major.
Did you notice that your symptoms were you had an easier menopause than your friends did?
It was about the same.
Okay, so
Totally
nothing.
normal in every way.
That's great. Well, you know what? You are so inspiring. You're inspiring to me, and I hope you've inspired a lot of other folks.
Well, I'll be happy to talk to you anytime. Believe me, it's been a tough battle.
Well, you sound like you got through it, Patricia.
I've come to this point where life is really good.
Well, there's a big estrogen component to multiple sclerosis. I think I was telling you that earlier.
I didn't know that.
Well, most people get autoimmune diseases like MS or women.
Women get MS.
Yes,
much more than men.
Right, and that implies a female hormone or estrogen component.
Right,
and in fact,
but
that's
men
true
get it worse when they do get it.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's
I didn't
what
know.
I hear.
Okay, I did not know that. And it is typical, as you said, so you and I talked earlier, that symptoms do tend to get reduced as you get older, as your estrogen levels drop anyway. So, you did a great job.
I haven't had a flare-up in 20 years.
Well, you know what, Patricia, that is just an amazing, amazing story. I'm so glad you came on and shared it with us. And I would love to be able to stay in touch with you and just pick your brain a little bit, because you know more about this stuff than I do. And I've been studying it for a long time, but you've been living it for a long time. So thank you so much. That's a very inspiring story.
I'm glad to share the good news with you.
I appreciate it. I love it. It is the good news. Thank you so much, Patricia.
Okay.
We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you
Say
so
hi to
much.
Doug. All right,
Okay.
we'll talk to you later.
Okay,
Okay.
bye.
All right, that was Patricia Black, and she's just a regular Jill. Nothing special. She's not an author. She's not a doctor. She's not a medical professional. She's just a regular Jill who took care of her multiple sclerosis on her own. Now, she did some things that I wouldn't necessarily counsel her to do, including prescription drugs, but I'll tell you what. That's kudos to Patricia. And if you're out there and you're dealing with an autoimmune disease, if you're dealing with a degenerative disease, if you have multiple sclerosis, I want you to know that you don't need to interface with the medical community to address and to reverse degenerative diseases, any degenerative diseases. And I don't like the word cure. I like the word reverse, because I don't like to think of people as sick as much as we're starving and we're just missing the raw materials that we need to run our body. So whatever the heck you're dealing with, folks, whatever it is, autoimmune disease, thyroid disease, diabetes, please understand that if it can be reversed by one person, it can be reversed by anybody, and that means it can be reversed by you as well. That's all the time we have for today. Tomorrow we'll continue talking about building muscle, building tissue, using protein, specifically the amino acid, the super amino acid, arginine with 4 nitrogen, super amino acid. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for listening, folks. If you're interested in checking out my website, brightsideben.com, love to have you join the Brightside Ben phone team. Love to have you join the Brightside Ben team. Give the phone team a call at 866-735-2470 or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com. Have yourselves a wonderful, awesome, beautiful, terrific day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.